Friends, welcome to this evening's session. We will begin in a couple of minutes' time. Friends, welcome to today's self-transformation session. For those of you who are joining these sessions for the first time, these sessions are about transforming the body, the mind, and our soul. They are about increasing wellness naturally, making small but sustainable changes to our lifestyle. They're about treating the root cause of all diseases through lifestyle changes rather than treating diseases with medication one by one as they come. Peace, happiness, and longevity may be one of the side effects of these lifestyle changes. In today's session, we begin with the final part of vegetable oil kills. So over to Vijay.
Namaste, everybody. Welcome to the self-transformation session today. We have seen in last three parts about the detrimental effects of vegetable oil. Today it is the last part. This is our disclaimer. We have seen that from dump yard to dinner table, within 30 years, what was garbage became fertilizer and then cattle feed. And in 1890, it was being served on our dinner table. We also know that previously how the oil was extracted from seeds, and now they are chemically altered, refined oils. Today we will see why the vegetable oil, is again not so good. The smoke point, also known as the burning point, is a temperature at which an oil or fat stops shimmering and begins to produce smoke, which is clearly visible. And these are the smoke points of different oils. In refined oil, grapeseed has 268 degrees Celsius. From then onwards, it will start giving out the bluish flame or smoke. Then canola, sunflower, rice bran, peanut, and soybean. In not refined oils, extra virgin oil, avocado, coconut, and virgin olive oil. Their smoke point is from 175 Celsius to 206. A toxic chemical called acrolein is produced when vegetable oils are heated to their smoking point. What is this acrolein? It is classified as probably carcinogenic to humans, group 2A. There are three groups, 1, 2, and 3. Group 1 means it is confirmed that it will cause cancer. This is in group 2A because it was established on the basis of sufficient evidence of carcinogenicity in experimental animals and strong mechanistic evidence. This was published in Lancet in January 2021. Now, the same chemical acrolein is in cigarette smoke. When someone smokes, this chemical is produced in cigarette smoke. Acrolein has acute effects on cell function and toxicity. An acute exposure to acrolein diminishes pulmonary defense against bacterial and viral infection. A chronic exposure induces bronchial lesion and mucus hyperplasia and negatively affects embryo development. People who smoke and who actually inhale second-hand smoke, both can be affected because of this chemical acrolein. This acrolein also impairs the HDL's ability of transporting cholesterol back to the liver, leaving more cholesterol in the blood. Now, HDL means high density lipoproteins. This HDL molecule absorbs the excessive cholesterol from our body and returns to the liver. So our bloodstream cannot have excessive cholesterol. But acrolein impairs their ability. And this leads to the blockage of arteries. So if we are actually having anything in oil, in vegetable oil, beyond their smoking points, this can happen. And not only this, there's another thing called iodine value. Iodine value denotes the degree of unsaturation of fats. Vegetable oils have unsaturated fats. The saturated fat takes up no iodine, so the iodine value is 0. And the unsaturated fats have double or triple bonds, and we have seen that last time. So the reactivity with iodine increases, and it consumes more iodine in reaction, and so has a higher iodine value or number. And when the oil has a higher value of iodine, it is more unsaturated, less stable, and more vulnerable to oxidation and free radical production. Now look at the iodine values of oils and fats. Coconut oil has the iodine value of 6 to 11. Butter has 25 to 42. Palm oil 50 to 88. Olive 76 to 90. Peanut 86 to 107. And carry on reading the chart. Sunflower 118 to 141. And safflower seed 136 to 146. Now, higher the iodine value means that oil is prone to rapid oxidation. Look at this picture. Does it look familiar? On our gas stove or in the utensils? This thing here, what is that? It is called polymerization. Now, what is polymer? Polymerization is the process in which relatively small molecules called monomers combine chemically to produce a very large chain-like or network molecule called polymer. During heating, oil with higher iodine value also readily polymerize. Oils with the iodine number higher than 115 are considered drying oils. And what does it mean? Drying means hardening into a polymerized, tough and solid film after exposure to air, a reaction sequence that is accelerated by elevated temperatures. So anything above 115, which is from cottonseed oil onwards, corn oil, sesame oil, sunflower seed oil, soybean oil, grapeseed oil, safflower seed oil, they are considered officially drying oils. And what do they do? It causes artery clogging. The picture you have seen before on the utensils on the gas stove, they are polymers, a plastic-like substance, and they stick in our artery, and then after a while, after a few years, they can give us heart attack. Polymerization causes the fatty acid to become hard and insoluble plastic-like solids, and this is an irreversible process. Polyunsaturated vegetable oils are used extensively as basis of paints and varnishes because they harden when oxidized, and all vegetable oils oxidize rapidly. And that is why one should not consume any vegetable oil processed and whose iodine value is beyond 115. Now look at this statistics about the breast milk. For hundreds of thousands of years, the fat in human breast milk was less than 5% linoleic acid, which is omega-6. Today, the average woman's breast milk in Western countries is 15 to 20% linoleic acid and as high as 30%. In baby pigs, while 1.2% of calories from omega-6 leads to healthy brain development, increasing intake to 10.7% of calories compromises neurodevelopment. And today's woman's average breast milk ratio of omega-6 is nearly 15 to 30%. So because of these reasons, we should not consume vegetable oils. And somebody asked me a question about the ghee last time before that. So is ghee good or bad? Now, ghee has saturated fat. And Ayurveda says that ghee is heavy to digest. So people with liver, kidney, and heart problem should avoid all types of fats, including ghee, because it is heavy to digest. But up to 2 tablespoons, that means up to 28 grams per day, will not have adverse effects in healthy people. And we know that we do not actually normally consume 28 grams, which is about 6 to 7 teaspoon ghee every day. But if you are ill or if you have some serious medical conditions about kidney, liver, and heart, then one should actually avoid having any fats, including ghee. Otherwise, this is the scientific analysis of ghee. 1 tablespoon is equal to 14 grams. It has 123 calories. It has 42 mg, which is 14% of daily value of cholesterol, and some vitamin A, E, and K. Now, when you say this 42 microgram of cholesterol, which is 14% of daily value, our liver produces 80% of cholesterol we need, and the rest of the 20% comes from the diet. In fact, ghee is anti-inflammatory, antioxidants it has, combats obesity, reduces cholesterol, less lactose and casein, so good for those who are lactose intolerant. But as I mentioned before, people with some kind of heart, liver, or kidney conditions should not consume any fats, including ghee. Otherwise, ghee is good. And according to Ayurveda, all the medications like churna or powder, normally they would be administered with ghee because, excuse me, because it helps to break down the molecules of particular medicines. Now, how the hype of polyunsaturated oil started? We talked about the $1.5 million donation from Procter & Gamble to American Heart Association in the 60s. And then AHA advised to replace saturated fats with polyunsaturated fats, that is vegetable oil. And then there was a 5-year study, an experiment in Minnesota, coronary experiment it is called, in America. And then partial results of that Minnesota coronary experiment published in Thesis. And the McGovern report issued by the US Senate Select Committee on Nutrition and Human Needs in 1977, based on this MCE thesis. And then partial results of MCE was published, but no stats given. And in 2009, American Heart Association affirms advice to maintain or increase linoleic acid, that is polyunsaturated fats, that is vegetable oil. In 2016, missing data of MCE published. And what was there in that missing data? The Minnesota coronary experiment from 1968 to 1973. 9,570 people in nursing homes and mental hospitals were participants. And it was the largest double-blinded randomized controlled trial double-blinded means the doctors and the patients would not know. Most rigorously executed. And in that trial, they reduced saturated fats by 50% and increased polyunsaturated fats by 280% in participants. And what was the result? It claimed that replacing saturated fats with polyunsaturated fat in vegetable oils will reduce cardiovascular deaths by lowering serum cholesterol. It was claimed. It did show that it had reduced serum cholesterol by an average of 14%, and this was published. But reduced cholesterol had a higher risk of death, 22% higher risk for every 30-point fall in cholesterol that was not published. The full results were not published. The unpublished records found in 2011 in the basement of the principal researcher, Dr. Evans. And what was the reality after looking into those unpublished reports? Available evidence from randomized control trials show that the replacement of saturated fat with linoleic acid, that is vegetable oil, effectively lowers serum cholesterol, but does not support the hypothesis that this translates to a lower risk of death from coronary heart disease or all causes. Minnesota coronary experiment findings add to growing evidence that incomplete publication has contributed to overestimation of benefits and underestimation of potential risk of replacing saturated fat with vegetable oils rich in linoleic acid. This was published in 2016 in British Medical Journal. So lastly, remember, it is not vegetable oil. It is chemically altered refined oil. The word vegetable is misleading. In a nutshell, vegetable oils are linked with reproductive problems, low birth rate, hormonal issues, obesity, diabetes, mental decline, liver problems, cancer, heart disease. The list goes on. So what shall be the alternatives? Coconut oil, because it has the lowest iodine value. And there is no unsaturated fat, or very little. Avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, butter, or ghee, that means clarified butter. These are the 5 alternatives. In short, do not consume vegetable oil, or one should not consume vegetable oil because it just kills. Thank you very much. Now, Dinesh shall take it over for meditation.
Vijay, thank you very much for the vegetable oil kills session. It is quite interesting to understand the real facts of how harmful vegetable oil is. I will now start the scientific benefits of meditation session. So today we are going to look at practicing meditation reduces anxiety and negative effects of perinatal stress and mood during pregnancy. Just the usual disclaimer. Now let us break our current breathing pattern. When we break the breathing pattern, the 175 spying neurons in the prebot C in our brainstem inform our brain's control center that something has changed. So our brain becomes alert to the new situation. This breaks the flow and we are ready to either react or to respond to the new situation. To break the breathing pattern, please take a few deep breaths slowly. During pregnancy, 18% of women are depressed. 13% have an episode of major depression. 14% have a new episode of depression. The prevalent rates of depression are 7% in the first trimester, 13% in the second, and 12% in the third. Suicide is the leading cause of death for women during pregnancy and in the year after giving birth. And this is all related to high stress and mood disturbance during pregnancy. So what are they associated with? Low birth weight, reduced duration of gestation and preterm birth, bacterial infection during pregnancy, increased risk for chromosomally normal spontaneous abortion, lower Apgar scores, smaller head circumference of the baby, neuroendocrine dysregulation, substance use during pregnancy, more difficult labor and delivery, and finally, postpartum depression. So how does meditation or mindful-based stress reduction techniques help? First, it increases the sense of control. It decreases mood disturbance. It reduces stress symptoms. It reduces the rate of relapse in clinical depression. It has positive effects on psychosomatic symptomatology, including chronic pain, anxiety, and panic disorders. It improves perinatal stress and mood. It also improves quality of sleep. It improves the birth weight. It reduces preterm birth. It reduces pregnancy complications. It reduces C-section and instrumental extractions. So friends, meditation or mindfulness is focusing on a single point. It enhances positivity during pregnancy. So what does meditation mean? Meditation means to be in the present, to be in the here and now, focusing on a singular point. So, what are the benefits of meditation? It enhances positivity during pregnancy. It increases quality sleep. It creates alternate circulation pathways and new blood vessels in our bodies. It achieves the 4-step breathing to live longer and healthier. It trains the 175 neurons to adopt the watch and wait policy, teaches us to respond and not to react, and it also controls the release of hormones. Friends, meditation is not a religious practice. It is all about seizing the moment. Meditation is all about you, to be in the here and now. No past impressions, no future anxieties, just the present. Because we only live in the present. The past has gone, and the future only arrives as the present. All of us have 1440 minutes every day. All we need to do is spare 10 minutes a day to be in tune with ourselves anywhere and anytime. Now, let us begin the meditation practice. Please sit in a comfortable position, close your eyes, interlock your fingers. You can focus on any singular point. Focusing on your breath will be easier to start with. Keep observing your breath coming in and going out at your nostrils. If your mind wanders somewhere, bring it back to your nostrils to observe your breath. Breathe naturally. Your breathing will automatically slow down. Keep observing your breath. Friends, slowly bring back your awareness to your bodies. Put your fingers on your eyes for a few minutes and then please open your eyes. We've got a question in the chat. How would you advise someone joining these sessions today? Should we see previous sessions and then watch live sessions after we've completed the previous courses? There is no need to do that. You please start joining the sessions every week, and when you have time, you can watch the previous sessions. All sessions are sort of independent of each other, so please, start joining the sessions, and when you have time, you can watch the previous sessions. All are available on YouTube. I just wanted to share an experience which I had 2 weeks ago. This was the first time I took a meditation session in the firm that I work for. We had a full away day in Bristol, and there were 25 members of my team who were present there, and there were 10 members who had joined via Zoom. I talked for about 20 minutes. 10 minutes I covered the 175 neurons, wait and watch scientific benefit. And in the other 10 minutes I covered the FEDS benefit, meaning meditation helps reduce fatigue, anxiety, depression, and stress. And everyone was really excited, and they said, let us, I said, now we'll do a 10-minute meditation session. So everybody was ready to meditate. And then we did a 10-minute meditation session. And after the session, everything became very, very quiet. It was like a Zen, an ashram, and everything was very quiet. Then I asked the question. There was a partner sitting in the session as well. And then I asked him, how did you find all this? And he said, it is great. However, I found it very difficult. Meaning, sometimes even a 10-minute meditation session when you're doing it for the first time can actually prove to be quite sort of hard in the beginning. So last week, friends, I had 2 weeks ago, I had covered the first powerful lesson that I learned as a sadhu. I was a sadhu for 14 years, and I learned a lot of lessons, good things. And one of the most powerful lessons that I had learned, which I had shared a couple of weeks ago, was stop looking outside or stop looking without. Everything is within. So call it God, whether we are searching for God, we are searching for our Atma, Brahman, enlightenment, happiness. Whatever we are searching for, it is all within, and meditation helps us within that search to experience the bliss of Brahman, of Atman, of God. Today, I'm going to talk about the second lesson, a very powerful lesson to learn on the path of spirituality, but which can also be applied for materialistic things as well. I will start off with a story. There was a farmer, and he had a hut that he had a small house in the farm itself, and he had some land where he used to use for farming. Every day in the evening he would come home and then he would have dinner, and then as the sun set, darkness came into that house. So he was thinking, why does darkness come into the house? And he said, we must fight darkness to make sure that it doesn't enter our house. So one day he told his sons, let's have some sticks, and when darkness starts to come into the house, let's fight it and get it out of the house. So when it was dark, it started going dark, he and his sons took sticks and started fighting the darkness. They assumed they were fighting darkness. Obviously, they did break quite a few utensils and made a lot of noise. And they continued doing this all throughout the night. And in the morning, at about 6 o'clock, when the sun started to rise, they said, wow, we have won. We have thrown darkness out of our house. The reality is, darkness isn't a separate entity. Darkness is just absence of light. We cannot fight darkness, and we should not make efforts to fight darkness. What we need to do is bring light into our lives. Bringing light into our lives means understanding who we truly are. We are the Chaitanya, the Atman, the Brahman. We are pure. We've never had any imperfections in ourselves. So when I was a sadhu initially, or since childhood, all the preaching and the discourses that took place, all the words that were spoken were, you need to become pure, you need to become Brahmarup, you need to do this, you need to do that. And that, after coming into contact with this enlightened soul and listening to his discourses, the penny dropped. To get rid of all evil things or not good things which are in our nature, or which are which we feel we've got in ourselves, is like fighting the darkness. That's why Swaminarayan has said in one of his discourses, the soul which resides within the body, observes both the attractive and the unattractive. It witnesses childhood, youth, and old age, as well as a countless number of other things. And this applies to all of us. This is what we are doing. However, the observer, meaning the soul, fails to observe its own self. The soul looks at objects externally, but it does not look at its own self. Then at another time, Swaminarayan said, the soul which resides in the body feels that carnal desires, anger, and other vicious natures are attached to my soul. In this way, depending on which of the vicious natures is predominant in a person, he believes his soul to be full of that nature due to his association with it. Then he gives a very, very important statement. He says, however, not a single one of these vicious natures lies within the soul. So anger or carnal desires or envy or other lots of vicious natures, they actually are not within our soul. When we are trying to fight those vicious natures, it is like fighting the darkness. Then he says, the soul merely believed itself to possess them out of its own foolishness. It is the association with the body which has triggered this, and that's why we feel that we are full of anger or we got all these desires, but in reality, the soul does not have anything in itself. So, from a spiritual perspective, what we need to understand is we don't need to fight the darkness. We need to focus on who we truly are, look within, do some self-inquiry. Who are we? This body is not who we are. We were born, childhood, youth, middle age, old age, and this body will die. So this body is not our true self. Our true self is the soul which is pure. So something which is imperfect can never be made perfect, and something which is perfect cannot be made imperfect. So what is imperfect? The body, the world, and the universe is imperfect. It can never be made perfect. And perfect is the soul, the Atman, which can never be made imperfect. Darkness can never become light, and light can never become darkness. There is a very good quote by Jonathan Livingston Seagull, a book by Richard Bach, where he says, "You will begin to touch heaven, Jonathan. You will begin to touch heaven, Jonathan, in the moment you touch perfect speed," because it's about a seagull, it's about flying, it's about speed. And then it says, and that isn't flying 1,000 miles an hour or 1,000,000 miles an hour, or flying at the speed of light, because any number is a limit, and perfection doesn't have limits. Perfect speed, my son, is being there. So let us learn to go within to understand our true nature and our true self. From a materialistic point of view, it is important to understand that whatever we are trying to achieve, we need to visualize that we are already there. The power of visualization, the power of manifestation will work wonders in our lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dinesh. We have one question about the purity of our soul.
Yes.
If we are pure, then why one feels the bad things like anger, sexual desire, etc.?
So this is all purely because of our identification with the body. As we meditate, or if we have an awareness, as we develop an awareness over time, it will take time, that we are actually separate from the body, which we are. Logically, if you really think about it, who are we? Can I pinpoint something that I am in this body or this body? And we know that, you know, 80 years or 100 years or 70 years, whatever age we live up to, that is just a drop in the ocean in infinite time. It is nothing. So we are not this body, but we exist. I am. If I leave all my identity aside, that I'm Dinesh, I'm an accountant, I'm doing this. If I leave all of that aside, because all that identifiers belong to this body, if I leave all that aside, I still am. I exist. And that I which exists is the Atman or the Brahman, or different words have been used. So that is who we are. And once we are able to identify ourselves with who we truly are, those desires or whatever is created by the hormones in the body will not affect us. We will understand that we are actually beyond all that.
Alex is asking, if these desires are not good, then why we have them?
Yes, let's start with the first, the basic thing, the foundation, and that is these desires are not in the soul. These desires are in the body and the mind. Yeah, and why we have them is the reason of this identification crisis and the cycle of births and deaths that has resulted in this all these desires. And because we identify ourselves with this body, with this individuality, that is why all these desires occur. In the state of we call it sakshatkar, or in the state of enlightenment, duality disappears. So when there is no duality, none of these desires remain, and the Atman, or the soul, has been uh, said that it is Sat, Chit, and Anandrup. Sat meaning it is true, Anand means it's blissful in itself, and Sat, Chit, and Anandrup. So Chit, sorry, means that it is full of knowledge. So it is something which does not require anything externally to keep it happy. It is blissful in its nature by itself. So, friends, thank you very much for joining today's session. We continue with this series, and next week we are going to have as the health tip is the health benefits of Anulom Vilom Pranayam on the body. As far as meditation is concerned, we will cover changes, how meditation changes brain's structure to help us better deal with pain. And in the wisdom sharing session, we have invited a guest, a doctor from USA who's been meditating for many, many years, and she will share her experiences of meditation. So please join us next Saturday at 6 p.m. And if you enjoy these sessions, please do inform your friends and other, whatever WhatsApp groups that you are in, and do forward our invites to all of them. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.